Good morning. It is August 22nd. Today is my first exam. Before we get to that, though, let's find out what fate is going to have in store for me, other than my tests, of course. I still have my weekend class, of course, from signing up for the study group. I can't forget that. I'm afraid I'm going to forget. I have my fate deck. Give him a little shuffle and see what's in store for me today. Okay. Ready? Borrow notes. Gain 1 hour for class over the weekend. Okay, so I get another one. Let's see. This says for class over the weekend. So I guess I need to find out what class I'm borrowing notes for. That makes sense. And I don't think this needs to be limited to the classwork for today, because I could have met anybody in the hall from any of my classes that still have books in them. So I'm going to do it that way. And that gets this might be confusing. Gain 1 hour for class over the week. Okay, instead of making this super complicated by trying to figure out what order I put these in to draw the rock and all of that, and whether the class will already be over because it's exams this week. You know, there's so many levels to it. What I'm going to do is just hold on to this. And come the weekend, she will borrow the notes on maybe Friday. Yeah, because then we'll know that's what we'll do. We'll know what books will be available still as of Friday. On Friday, we will draw the rock to find out what class we're borrowing the notes for to read on Saturday. That makes sense to me. That way I'm not borrowing notes for a class that's already ended, which I wouldn't be studying over the weekend anyway. Okay, that's a good idea. Okay, now to remember that, I'll leave myself a note. This morning I have restoration and then a study hall. Full disclosure, I already did restoration this morning when I got up, because I knew I was going to do it again for the first study hall, and if the fate card was going to affect it, it would apply to study hall. So that's a wash. It's not kind of skipping anything. So I have to rush to study hall to get in my hour because the morning is coming to a close. And, on my exam schedule, I have my first exam today for animal studies. And guess what? I turned in my essay and I filled out my form for participating. So I have 100 in animal studies. Yay. Good job, me. I'm proud of me for getting it in. But I barely made it. That's okay. So we don't have to worry about any other exams today, but they are going to start coming fast and furious. So I need to get to study hall, and I'm going to continue on with when night breaks. So here's where I am so far. I am still lost. I do not enjoy this class at all. I really regret not changing this at the beginning. What I should have done, since it was such an open prompt, was swapped it out for the first book and then maybe done this for the second prompt in restoration, because that was one with the prompts. I had the leeway to do that. I'm kicking myself for not taking that step back then, but I am committed. I am going to continue on. I have also decided I am not giving this book a numbered rating, and my review will probably be really short because it's not fair. It's not fair to the author that I am forcing myself to read a book that I am completely lost in. So there is that. All right. I'm going to study hall, and I will see y'all later. So it took me all morning and all afternoon. I used both of my study halls and the 2 class times, and I finished this one. And I am so glad because I am sick of it. I don't like this book. And I think I knew it for sure when I finished this morning's class. Before that, I was kind of like hesitant towards it. But after the first hour today, and I did 4 hours with it, I was just like, So even though before I thought I wasn't giving it a fair shake because I couldn't remember book one, that's no longer the only issue with it. I don't like the characters. I don't like the main character. She broke somewhere between the first book and the second one because I don't remember having that issue with it. I really enjoyed Where Dreams Descend. And this one, I just found Kalia, I believe her name is, she's almost insufferable. And even the main guy, I found him a little melodramatic. You know, it was just everything was his fault, and it was just I'm sorry all the time and everything. And he did have times where he, was decisive and took action and all of that, and was really an admirable character. But all the other stuff kind of pushed that aside to where you forgot that aspect of him, or it just kind of disappeared the deeper you got into the book. But I did not like the plot holes. It was very convoluted where you're like, wait, what? So the magic system got really confusing. It's in a different world than the first book. It's like, I don't want to ruin it in case somebody else reads it, because it seems like, I did check, reviews are people either loved it or they didn't. It seems to be very polarizing between the two. And originally what I had planned to do was go back and read book one down the road and then read this one again, expecting that it would give me a better reading experience, that I would, fall in love with this one as well. And I have absolutely no desire to read this one ever again. I don't care. So it was more than just not remembering the details from the first book. I did not care for it. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to end up unhauling it. I'll probably end up unhauling both of them, but I'm not going to decide just yet, in case it was just my frustration with the book and maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it. But I'd say 9 out of 10, they're both going to go, because there are so many other books that I would rather have and make space for than, they stay. There's less space for something new. So, all right. Speaking of something new, y'all, and this is probably old news because I am behind times and everything. So I looked to find out if Half-Blood Prince would be coming out in the illustrated edition by Jim Kay, and he has retired from the project. He quit to focus on his mental health, which is, good for him. I'm glad he's doing what he needs to do to take care of himself, but I'm so sad because those books are gorgeous. So apparently the project is still going to continue on. They are going to do the last 2 books, and there's another artist that will be taking over, but there's nothing definite that I've seen yet. So I am heartbroken because so beautifully done. And so I'm not going to have a complete set by him, but that's okay. I will just appreciate the ones I have. Anyway, I thought I would pass that on in case there was anybody like me who was like, is the next one about to come out? And the answer would be no. So anyway, so I did finish the restoration book, which is a really good thing, but it still has one more book in this, so I'm not done with the class. In fact, I've got another whole long book. And tonight I have a study hall, and then apothecary, and then elemental studies. So I'm wavering because I do have the 2 hours this weekend, thanks to the cards, which I plan to use that, I think, for probably elemental studies. So I could use tonight's study hall to continue with restoration, because I believe that test comes up on Friday. So I'm only going to have today and tomorrow to work on that book. But I can't decide. Because after slogging through that one, and combined with the fact that I'm really not feeling this at the moment, especially because I know it's got magical realism, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about that mixing in with my World War II historical fiction. So I am a little hesitant to start it today, but it does have gifts. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I will decide. So I'll either start this book and a video for it, because it is Once Upon a Book Club. So I'll be vlogging it and unboxing the presents. Or I will read Thunderhead, which I might just do Thunderhead. You know what? I'm doing Thunderhead. Maybe. I don't know. I have time to figure it out. It's 5 o'clock right now. And study hall is my first evening class. So I'm going to give my brain a break. I'm going to rinse it out with something good. I don't know what that is, but yeah. Because that last book, 4 hours with that, it's just drained me. All right. I'll let you know what happened after I figure it out. I have had a busy night. So let's look at my schedule, because I had decisions to make. There was a study hall, Apothecary Keeper, and then Elemental Studies. So Apothecary Keeper, this is the last time I have this class before my exam, which is on Wednesday, tomorrow. So I got a little nervous on that one and decided to use my study hall for Apothecary Keeper, which was Sparrow Delaney. Because I've only had one other class with this. So, thankfully, it was a quick, easy, fun read. I really enjoyed this one. I ended up giving it a 4 because there was one part of the plot that was just left unsolved. So, and I can see why. It wasn't a big part of it. There was just, an open-ended question left on it. But I think it was probably intentional. But I really enjoyed this. Her family was just so much fun. And I wish it was a series. I looked, and she didn't write any other books after this one as far as this series. She's written a couple other books, but no more from Sparrow. And it's just, if you're looking for a lighthearted but good story, it's YA psychics, and she's the 7th daughter of a 7th daughter. Everybody in the family has their psychic gift, one version or another, and then a Sparrow, she doesn't have hers. At least that's what she wants her family to think. And she decides to, when there's district lines are redrawn at where she lives, she decides to go to a different high school, the new one, because she wants to get away from her family's reputation. And it was really good. Quite funny at times. So, but I obviously finished it. And I used the study hall for it. And then it took me, I believe, about an hour and a half to read the book. And with study hall added to the regular class time, I had 3 hours. So I used the study hall for it, obviously, and then I only used half of the block of the Apothecary Keeper class, and then I finished it, which turned the rest of the class into study hall. And I did go ahead and start my second book for Restoration, which is This Rebel Heart. And I also started a separate video for this, since it's Once Upon a Book Club. I got to page 74. This is a really quick read. It's big font with small, with big margins. So, there's not much on the page. Which means I was able to make some pretty good progress. There's no way I'm going to finish that book. But who knows? Maybe the fake cards will give me some help, and I can at least make some substantial progress in it. We'll find out. I do get to read this one again tomorrow. And then I had one more class, which was Elemental Studies, and I am reading Thunderhead for that one. And I have made pretty good progress on it. I think I've passed the halfway point. I'm on page 266. So I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to pull it off, because I still have one more book for that. but it's a shorter middle grade. So maybe I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. It's so hard to put this down though, because everything's starting to fall apart, and all of the main characters are in a pretty precarious situation right now. So yeah. I'm nervous for them. I love this. I'm so involved in that. Yeah. But I have to wait. I do get to read it again tomorrow, so that'll be good. All right. So it's been a very long but productive day. I have read 564 pages today. Yeah, this is a lot. But it was only, 3 different books. So, which isn't as bad as it was last Tuesday. Anyway, I'm going to go let my brain rest. And I don't have any classes tomorrow morning, so I don't start until like noon. That'll be nice, because I have editing to do. I think September, I'm probably just going to veg out going, I don't know. We will see. I'm getting close to the end of this marathon. Just got to hang in there a little bit longer. All right, y'all have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next one, which will hopefully be the day after tomorrow. We're getting close to the end of this.